This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit, and today's subject is going to be subject. Is subject matter really important? And what is your subject matter of your painting, really? So, let's see, how do I begin? What got me going with this idea was, first off, I couldn't think of a subject to talk about today. But yesterday, in yesterday's video, when I'm finished with these videos, I'm cleaning stuff up and loading it onto the computer. I re-listened to it just to kind of get a gist of what it is that I talked about, because I'm really not fully aware of what I'm talking about. And yesterday I quickly realized that I was calling a triangle in my painting a rectangle. And I thought, well, the first time I heard it, it's like, oh, you just made a slip. But then I called it a rectangle again. And got me to thinking, well, is it just that I'm stupid? I guess it could be. Or is it that I just automatically go into that state of mind which isn't labeling things, just like I was kind of talking about yesterday. I think it was yesterday's video, or maybe in other videos. So, well, how does this all have to do with subject? I remember being in a life drawing class and people talking about how it's difficult to paint hands and feet or faces. That's the most difficult thing to paint. And I never really quite understood it, because when I was painting, it was actually simply just looking at light and shadow. So whether I was painting, whatever portion of the body that I was painting, it's all light and shadows to me. And maybe for the hand, you would have to slow down a little more than somewhere else. The things of the human body that we pay more attention to, or that's giving us more information, like the human face, maybe you have to slow down. But it's all the same. It's all just light and shadow. So, when we're talking about subject, what is it that we're really talking about? And it's going to be different for every person. I remember going to a Rembrandt exhibition at the DIA. That's the Detroit Art Institute. I think it was called the Faces of Jesus. And I was looking at the paintings this exhibition, and I'd come up to a painting and I'd go, that's weird. It doesn't really look like Rembrandt's painting. And then I would look at the label and it would say, student of Rembrandt. And that happened to me several times, and I was like, well, what's going on? Because, to one person, it might look like these paintings kind of look all the same. But something just seemed different to me. And it seemed like an epiphany to me at the time. But it's really quite simple. I just realized that when Rembrandt is painting a portrait, he's not actually painting the person that he's looking at. He's actually painting the content of his own mind while he's looking at it. There are lots of artists that I've seen who have been inspired by Rembrandt, and they always seem to kind of miss something to me in what it was that Rembrandt was painting. And it's not only that he's painting the content of his mind, but he's responding to the life energy inside of himself that's responding to what's in front of him. So he's not really responding to what's in front of him. He's responding to the feeling he has inside while he's painting what he's painting. And that's unique to him. So you're never going to get somebody who can paint like Rembrandt. It'll never happen. And there will be never anybody who can paint like you. So you might look at a Rembrandt and you might say, oh, he's such a great portrait artist. Somebody else might think he's great for another reason. I used to, when I was in art school, look at Rembrandt quite a bit, but my paintings were really nothing like his. And I actually would say that Rembrandt was a great abstract painter because he was finding how to create life with his brushwork. And I might say that Alice Neal is actually a better portrait artist. She seems to be able to really capture the personality in a very unique way. So it's all just like I've been talking about. It's all perception. I guess this is another subject of talking about perception again. And so I decided for this painting that I'm doing, I don't know if it seems like it's a little different to you than maybe my normal abstractions, because I'm actually doing this from a still life right now. Maybe I'll post a picture of what it is that I'm looking at, but I really can't do that because just like Rembrandt, I'm not looking at what's in front of me. I'm looking at what's inside my self as I'm painting it. And it's actually turning out pretty cool. I might actually do more of this. I think I read a quote from David Hockney talking about still lives. And I don't remember which still life he was talking about, but he was basically saying how beautiful it was. And it was just a simple still life. And he was getting at kind of the same point that maybe I'm reaching for. Just that it doesn't necessarily matter what it is that you're subject is, it's what you're doing with it. I go a step further in saying that the subject that you're always looking at is the content of your own mind. So, what are you doing with the content of your mind? Do you feel good with the content of your mind? Or does it sometimes exhaust you? Well, for me, it sometimes does. Last night actually was kind of a challenging night for me emotionally. That's another thing about subject, it's all on how we interpret it. I'm sure many of us grew up with an idea in our mind that emotions are something to be stuffed and hidden. Because maybe we got upset and we got yelled at for being upset. And so we kind of get a distorted way of handling our emotions when we judge them as something bad or wrong. And if we can just see that they're simply energy and maybe a feedback that can be very helpful to us in giving us information about the world we live in and about ourselves. It's a whole different way of looking at emotions. And it's just reframing the content of your own mind. Well, there's my timer. Let's take a look at this painting and see if there's anything more that I can do to maybe give it a pop. You know, I think I'm just gonna leave it where it's at. Feels pretty decent to me. It's different anyway, and I like that. So, if you've enjoyed this, I enjoy getting some comments or some likes or hearts, and get out your own brushes, and we'll see you tomorrow.